Hi students, in the last class we discussed about what are the major applications of an embedded system as well as what are the major purpose of an embedded system. So what are the major applications of an embedded system? So simply, a consumer electronics, household appliances as well as home automations and automotive industries and computer networking, computer peripherals, so as well as banking. So these are the major applications of an embedded system. So as well as, what is the purpose of an embedded system? So we discussed about the applications of an embedded system. So what are the major purpose of this embedded system we have to discuss. So in the last class we discussed about what are the major what are the purpose. At the same time we discussed the two purposes, that is data collection, representation as well as storage, and we discussed about the data communication operation also. So in this section we discussed about the remaining four purposes, that is data and signal processing and monitoring and control and application specific user interface. So first we discuss about data signal processing. So what has the name itself, data or signal processing. So it processes the signals, which signals it can be processed. So based upon the application it processes the signal. So the data may be, as we know that the data may be text, voice, picture and video or analog signal. So it may be variable. So here, these data can be processed by using an embedded system. So these are comes under data signal processing embedded systems. So generally, we heard that is speech coding missions and synthesis and audio video codec and transmission applications are comes under this category. So the best example of this data signal processing is hearing aid. So which is used for hearing impaired persons. So which improves the hearing capability of that particular hearing impaired persons. So by using hearing aid. So what is the major purpose of a hearing aid? How it can work? So we have to check. So the major applications of the digital signaling processor is hearing aid. So here it can be used for hearing disabled persons. So by using this they have to listen or they have to improve their hearing capacity. So this is the digital signal processing structure. So first the signal. First I want to use information like I want to speak some data or I want to, the signal may be a voice signal. So I want to speak something. So the signal may be, the voice signal, you know that the voice signal is in the form of analog. So the signal can be converted in the form of digital. So here we use a digital signal analysis. So at the same time it compressed and digital out. So here it can be used for the transmission purpose. So these type of things can be used for the transmission purpose. Simply we have to speak in information or we have to speak something. The signal may be in the form of, the signal is in the form of analog, which can be converted in the digital, and we have to use a digital signal analysis method. So which analyze the signal and send to the particular person. So this is one type of data signal processing method. So at the same time the main example of data signal processing is hearing aid. So what is the purpose of hearing aid? Which improves the hearing capacity of hearing disabled person. So this is a hearing aid. It contains microphone. So it contains microphone and ear hook, at the same time amplifier, speaker and battery. So these are the main things. So microphone, nothing but when a person can speak something, it can be recorded or it can be converted our voice signals to the analog signal. So in mobile phones, microphone plays a major role. Why? Because we have to speak something, it can be converted in the form of analog signals. So by using microphone only, it can we have to convert. The device can convert our voice information to the analog signal. So at the same time it can having an amplifier. So the microphone is used for collection of voice information. So when we talk, a hearing disabled person can't hear the voice. So when here the microphone is used for the collection of information, nothing but it collects the voice signal and convert in the form of analog signal. So these signals are given to the amplifier. So as we know that what is the purpose of an amplifier? Which can strengthen the signal, nothing but so the amplitude of the signal will be increased. So with this the voice signal can be strengthened as well as the amplitude will be increased. So and the battery is used for the power supply, nothing but operation for the microphone and speakers and amplifiers. There is need of power supply, so that's why we use the battery. So in the digital hearing aid the battery based power supply is mostly used. So and the speaker, so by using speaker they have to listen the voice in strengthened way. So why nothing but in the high pitch. So for example, my voice signal will be a 5 volt signal. So an amplifier and microphone collects the signal, nothing but analog signal, which converts in the form of microphone collects voice signal which converts the signal in the form of analog, and this signal is given to the amplifier which strengthens the signal. So maybe strengthened to the 10 volts or 15 volts. So based upon the amplifier the strengthening process may be different. So and this signal is given to the speaker, so it gives the information to the particular hearing aid. So nothing but hearing problem person. So this is the major applications of digital signal processing. Why? Because data signal processing. But it takes the data as well as signal and process nothing but here we use the amplification purpose. So amplification process. So it processes the signal and sends to the speaker, and by using speaker a hearing impaired person can listen the normal voice. And next one is monitoring purpose. So a medical applications comes under this monitoring process only. So any medical applications like ECG mission, EEG missions, EMG missions and CT scans, so everything comes under monitoring purpose only. So why? Because for example we want to check our heartbeat, so a ECG mission can be used. So with this only we have to monitoring our heartbeat only, but it can't control the heartbeat. So every medical application, nothing but every medical applications comes under monitoring purpose only. So the best examples of the monitoring purpose are medical applications. So it contains at the input side it contains a sensor which collects the information. So ECG, for the ECG machine it contains a sensors internally at the same time. So simple temperature sensing machine, nothing but thermometer. It contains temperature sensor which collects the temperature and displays the information. So the major applications are it is used for monitoring. So it may be temperature monitoring, heartbeat monitoring as well as pulse monitoring. So everything comes under this monitoring purpose only. At the same time, so another examples of these monitoring are digital CROs and digital multimeters, logic analyzers. So these are also used for monitoring purpose. As we know that what is the purpose of CRO? So we have to observe the signals. It may be analog signal or digital signal. At the same time, what is the purpose of multimeter? We have to observe the voltage and current. So these are the comes under monitoring. These are the purposes of monitoring? Nothing but these applications are simply a monitoring used for monitoring purpose. So simply a multimeter and ECG, EMG and at the same time CROs are the best examples of the monitoring purpose. So another important one is control. So in the previous we have to monitor only, but here we have to control. So nothing but it contains input as well as output. So at the input side we have to use the sensor, at the output side we have to use the actuator. So based upon the input change, the output compulsory changes. So simply we can say that automatic temperature control or automatic fire alarm system. So it contains an input, nothing but it contains a fire sensor at the input side. At the output side, it may contains an alarm or it may contains a sprinklers. So when a fire accident will occur, so a sensor detects the fire and it can be sent to the based upon the fire. So a alarm can nothing but a buzzer can on as well as the sprinklers can on. So these are the best examples of a controlling purpose, nothing but, so it contains an input as well as output, nothing but sensors and activators. So it contains both sensors and activators. So any change in the input, so it occurs change at the output compulsory. So at the same time, so the best example of our day-to-day life is so air conditioner. So some of air conditioner may be automatic air conditioner, nothing but when a room temperature changes, so then automatically air conditioner change the temperature. So it contains at the input side we have to use the thermistor. So thermistor senses the room temperature. So when the room temperature may be high, so then automatically air conditioner controls its temperature. So when room temperature may be low, so automatically air conditioner may controls its temperature. So simply these controlling may be done in the manual format or automatical formats. So these are the controlling purpose as well as, so we have to use the keypads, buttons, switch, so fire alarm system and temperature controlling systems comes under this category only. So some of the larger industries, so automatic temperature control systems will be there. So depends upon the room temperature, the fans will rotate, as well as depends upon the room temperature, the AC automatically will change the temperature. So these are the examples of the monitoring, nothing but controlling purpose. So and the final one is application specific user interface. So application specific, it is used for the particular applications only. Simply nothing but buttons, switches, keypads, lights, speakers comes under this category. So it is used for the particular applications, and one of the best example of this is mobile phone. So by using mobile phone we have to interface, it contains interfacing like keypad, LCD display. So these are the examples of the application specific user interface. So when we want to interface something, so buttons or switches or keypads, lights are the major interfacing things. So these are the purpose of an embedded system, why we use the embedded systems. Next one, the typical embedded system. So up to this we discuss about what is meant by embedded system, what is the history of an embedded system, as well as classification and purpose of an embedded system. So as we know that what is the definition of an embedded system? So embedded system is electronic or electromechanical system used for the particular purpose, and it contains hardware and software components. So a typical embedded system, nothing but, so what are the major parts of an embedded system we have to discuss here. So as we know that simply we can say that an embedded system is a combination of hardware and software, and the software is also known as firmware. So first we discuss about the hardware component. So with a simple example, already I am telling about that automatic fire alarm system. So it contains a sensor as well as it contains an activator, nothing but. So at the sensor side we use a thermistor, at the activator side we use a sprinklers or buzzers. So nothing but, and the important parts of an embedded system is sensor. So sensors are used at the input side and activator which are used at the output side. And for the connection of these things, we have to use a main thing, that is either we have to use a processor or controller. So nothing but which controls the operation. So it contains a system core. So it contains a system core and For firmware storage, as we know that we have to store a software, so compulsory we have to use a memory. So without memory we can't store any information, nothing, but without a software we can't store. So that's why a typical embedded system compulsory contains a memory as well as, so it contains communication interfaces. So for example, simple mobile phone is an embedded system. So it contains some ports like charging, so as well as earphone ports. So nothing but we have to communicate with another device by using so data cable. We have to connect mobile with the laptop also. So compulsory, a typical system contains communication interface for communication between these embedded system, particular embedded system to the another system. So that's why a typical embedded system consisting of communication interface. So at the same time, these are the major things in the embedded system. So it depends upon the application. So other supporting ICs as well as subsystems can be changed. So one system to another system, these may change. So for example, in the washing machine, so for the sensing purpose as well as activating purpose, so and memory, these are the common things. So these things will be common for every embedded system, and other supporting integrated circuits are different from one system to the another system. So for sensing operations, we use the different types of sensors like thermistors, so as well as temperature sensor, humidity sensor, pulse sensor. So are examples of the sensor. For activators, we use the LEDs as buzzers and motors. So DC motor or AC motor or stepper motor. So these are the output devices which are connected externally. So and communication interfaces, at the same time we use communication interfaces. So like USB ports or RS-232 ports are it may contains wired communication or wireless communication. So by using Bluetooth or by using Wi-Fi, we have to connect mobile with the laptop. So compulsory an embedded system contains communication interface, at the same time it contains memory also. So here we discuss in the next class also we have to discuss these things. So what is the system core and what are the types of system cores? So what is the purpose of a system core? At the same time, so what are the availabilities of system core we have to discuss. At the same time, what is meant by sensor? What are the different types of sensor used in an embedded system? At the same time, what is meant by activator? What are the different types of an activators? And what is meant by memory? What are the different types of memories? And the same time, communication interface we have to discuss in this unit. So first one is system core. So system core nothing but, so the embedded system are embedded systems are domain and application specific and built around a central core. Nothing but it may be domain specific or application specific. So compulsory it contains a system core. So the heart of an embedded system is known as system core. So without a controller or processor, a embedded system can't work. So majorly, so we have to use different types of system cores, so different types of processors. So in embedded systems, so the types of these system cores are, first one is general purpose and domain specific processor. So here we use a general purpose processor or domain specific. So the types of these one are microprocessor, microcontroller and digital signal processor. So nothing but it is used for general purpose. So when we want to write a software or we want to write a code, so when we dump into the microprocessor, it can be used for this particular purpose. So for example, I want to control a room temperature. I want to write the code to the particular operation and dump into the microprocessor or microcontroller or DSP processor. So when it performs that particular operation. So in the same chip only we have to write another code, it performs that operation only. So that operation also. So simply we can say that it can be used in the general purpose. So it is not for the specific applications, it is designed for the general purpose. So we have to write the code and dump into the particular processor or controller. So then we have to change the applications. By changing the code and by changing the hardware, so we have to use the different applications. So this is comes under the, so these are the types of general purpose processor. And next one is application specific integrated circuit. So application specific integrated circuit, nothing but specific applications, nothing but, so these circuits are designed for the specific applications only, or these processes are designed for the specific applications only. So these are the better, these are the best of application specific integrated circuit. So by using this, the speed of operation will be increased. At the same time, PLDs, programmable logic devices. We have to change the code, nothing but by changing the fuse blowing process. PLD nothing but programmable logic devices. Here we use the fuse blowing process. So by changing this fuse blowing process, we have to rewrite the code and use it for this. So this is one of the important concept in the embedded core. And next one is the commercial off-the-shelf components. So this is a special processor. So use it for the particular purpose only. So first one are the general purpose. It can be used for different applications, but application specific integrated circuits and PLDs and COTS are designed for the particular purpose only. It can't be used for another purpose. So these are the major types of core embedded system, nothing but system core. So system core nothing but it is heart of an embedded system. So next we discuss about what are the major types of an embedded system. Simply we can say that general purpose. In the general purpose, so the major types are microprocessor and microcontroller. First we discuss about what is meant by microprocessor. So when we place a CPU in single chip, so when we place a CPU in single IC chip, so it is known as microprocessor. So that means it does not contains any input output devices or memory. So these we have to any input output devices, at the same time controls. So we have to connect externally from to the microprocessor. So what is meant by microcontroller? So before discussing about the microcontroller, we discuss about only microprocessors. Simply we can say that, so in the microprocessor, different types of microprocessors are there. That is, the initial days we use the 8085 microprocessor. So then we go for the 8086. So which are 16-bit microprocessor. So then after that we go for the 8028, 386, 486 and Pentium. So nowadays the best microprocessor is Pentium microprocessor. So the speed of operation will be increased. So the first microprocessor is 8085 and next we go for the 8086. So 286 is 32-bit and 386, 486. So Pentium is a 64-bit microprocessor. So at the same time, what is meant by microcontroller? So microcontroller nothing but a system. So whole system, so placed in a single IC chip. So this is known as microcontroller. So as we discussed, I think all of you study in the microprocessor and microcontroller subject in the last semester. So we have you learn what is meant by microprocessor, what is meant by microcontroller. So here we discuss about what is the difference between the microprocessor and microcontroller. In the difference itself only we learn what is the major things we have to learn about the processor and control. So coming to the microprocessor, so microprocessor is the heart of the computer. So microprocessor is heart of the computer. Why? Because so CPU is very important thing. So we can call it as a microprocessor. So why CPU only? CPU does not contains any external devices, nothing but input ports, keyboard, mouses. Externally we have to connect, and ports are also. The same time, as we know that when CPU placed in a single IC chip, it is known as a microprocessor. So that's why we can say that microprocessor is a heart of a computer system. So here we use a microprocessor. So microprocessor does not contain any memory. So that's why by using system bus we can connect the read-only memory and random access memory and timers, counters and input-output ports and serial interfaces. So which are connected externally to the microprocessor. So coming to the microcontroller. So microcontroller is heart of a embedded system. So microcontroller is a heart of an embedded system. So why? Because so microcontroller internally having RAM, ROM and input output ports as well as so serial interfaces. So simply we can say that a whole system is placed in a single IC chip, so it is known as microcontroller. So the next difference is, it is just a processor, nothing but, so as we know, already said that memory, IO ports and commercial or nothing but serial interfaces, timers, counters are connected externally to this microprocessor. But microcontroller internally contains these parts, nothing but memory, serial interfaces are internally in the microcontroller. So next one is, so in the microprocessor we have to connect memory, so are from external world. So that's why the complexity of the system will be more. Nothing but size will be more, circuit will be large. So in the microcontroller it are connected internally. So these are connected internally only. That's why. So the complexity of the circuit as well as circuit is small. So at the same time, so it can't be used. So nothing but it can't be used in compact system and hence inefficient. So why? Because it is inefficient. Why microprocessors are inefficient? So why? Because so these are connected from external world. That's why. So these are inefficient. So at the same time, these are the efficient systems. At the same time, so the cost of a microprocessor is more compared with the microcontroller. So cost of the microprocessor is more compared with the microcontroller. At the same time, so due to the external components, so consumption, power consumption is more. But due to the internal components, the power consumption is less compared with the microprocessor. So at the same time, most of the microprocessors do not having power saving, but microcontroller having power saving mode. So with less power consumption, at the same time it also contains power saving mode. At the same time, so here we use the nothing but von Neumann architecture. So what is meant by von Neumann architecture? So we have to discuss in the next class. So but what is the difference between von Neumann and hardware architecture? Simply we can say that, so von Neumann and the hardware architecture nothing but, so von Neumann having both data and program memory are same. So data and program memory will be same, but hardware architecture is data and program memory different as well as data and program bus also different. So why we go for the, so what is the better compare with these two things? So simply we can say that hardware architecture is better than von Neumann architecture. Why? Because so it is having single memory. Von Neumann architecture is having single memory. So that's why speed of operation will be reduced. At the same time, hardware architecture having two memories, that is data and program memory. So that's why speed of operation will be more. At the same time, microprocessor having less number of registers. So nothing but memory is also less. So and at the same time microcontroller, so the speed will be more as well as at the same time it can the number of registers will be more. So up to this we discussed about what is the difference between microprocessor and microcontroller. Simply we can say that when a CPU is placed in the single IC chip, it is known as microprocessor. So when whole system is placed in a single IC chip, it is known as microcontroller. So microprocessor is the heart of a computer. At the same time, microcontroller is a heart of an embedded system. At the same time, in the microprocessors, memory, registers, and at the same time, IO ports and timers, counters are connected externally. So here in the microcontroller, they are connected internally itself. So at the same time, the cost of microprocessor will be more compared with the microcontroller, and the power consumption is also more, and there is a power saving mode in the microcontroller, but it is not present in the microprocessor. And microcontroller follows the hardware architecture. So hardware architecture nothing but program and data memory will be different, but the von Neumann microprocessor follows the von Neumann architecture. Here program and data memory will be same. So at the same time, the complexity of circuit will be more in the microprocessor, and the complexity of the circuit is less in the microcontroller. The final one, the main applications of this microprocessor are personal computers, and the main applications of microcontrollers are washing machines, MP3 players. Simply, and embedded systems are best examples for the microcontroller. So this is about the general purpose processor. So that is microprocessor and microcontroller. So in the next class we discuss about So another general purpose processor, that is DSP processor, as well as different types of processor, that is application specific integrated circuit and PLDs, as well as COS, and different types of memories we have to discuss in the next class. Thank you.